Hey guys, it's Kim here and welcome back to my top 5 of 2014. Today I am joined by Sjin. Hello Sjin.
Hey, hello Kim, how's it going?
Alrighty. So, without further ado, let's go straight in there. What is your number 5 game of this year?
Bang! Okay, at number 5, now this might be a little controversial because it hasn't actually been released yet. I think it's coming out in December,
God.
but hey, no, give me a break here. It's a really great game that we played as part of Yogscast, and it's called Gang Beast. I think it's a Unity game. It's pretty simple, but it's just so much fun. And I don't think a game needs to be AAA. It doesn't need to have like 10,000 people working 10,000 hours for 10,000 years to make it onto my top 5. But Gang Beast is a firm 5. You enjoy it?
Yeah, definitely. The stuff that we've played together, and also because we played it at Insomnia as well, didn't we? And Resd, and we've played it at various conventions when we've had to kind of do stuff on stage. And I've really enjoyed it because I think it's a lot of fun. And I think like endlessly chasing you around and pushing you off that platform into the fire was hilarious.
It was rage. It's so crazy. And we met the guys that make it, didn't we? At one of the Insomnia.
Oh my god, they're insane. Because he was so drunk, wasn't he?
They're as crazy as they are. The Gang Beasts. They're as crazy. They're as crazy as the game itself.
Have you seen they've updated it as well to include like onesie outfits almost, so that you can have like little red panda and a fox and a dinosaur and stuff like that?
Yeah, and I've also seen, I think it might be a bit of a top secret screenshot, but there is a screenshot of like versions of us in the game.
Really?
I've seen your Gang Beast as well, Kim, and it looks shocking. You're green. You look like the Kim Hulk. It's crazy.
Yeah. They've given me a sweet 6-pack.
You got a 12-pack of beers.
12-pack? Oh my days.
In
so
one
just
hand.
like real life?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
no.
Just like real life.
Wow. Well, I don't know. Like, yeah. Maybe, I don't know what you're packing underneath that Cheong Sam.
Heat, mate. Heat. I am packing heat.
Packing heat. A 9mm.
Yeah. What are we talking about here? Okay.
Top 5 games.
Yeah, Gang Beasts. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely like a party game. I think, like you just want to throw down, you want a little smack talk. Then you just put on some Gang
That's what
Beasts.
games should be. I mean, that's what gaming really kind of comes from, isn't it? It's getting people. There aren't any kind of single-player games like chess. One of the first games ever made, or drafts. That was a 2-player game. So gaming is all about, I think, playing with friends. And so I wanted to stay away from single-player adventures with my top 5.
Okay, so on
just to get like really
be controversial and different.
Yeah.
So on that note, what is number 4?
Number 4, well, we arrive at one of my favorite games of all time, re-released on Android. It also came to iOS pretty recently, and it's had an enhanced edition made. It's Baldur's Gate, the original.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, the Baldur's Gate series, it's like an isometric RPG based on Dungeons and Dragons, but it's one of like those games that I played when I was like 15, 16 that I really just fell deeply in love with. And I don't think you ever really forget the games you played around that age. They always kind of touch you in ways so much more than like, we're old now, Kim. Well,
really
maybe
old.
I am.
Yeah.
But we're jaded and we play games and they don't kind of really affect us as much as they do when you're a lot younger, do they?
No.
So Baldur's Gate really kind of just spoke to me and was such a fun game that I enjoyed when I was growing up. And so I was really happy to see it re-released on mobile devices and have the enhanced edition come out. So Baldur's Gate is a firm 4 for me.
So now we're going to run from Baldur's Gate at number 4 to your number 3, which is
Hyrule Warriors.
Oh my days. So again, going with the trend of things, this is something you've played off camera.
It is. I'm a huge fan of the Dynasty Warriors series, but I can't bring myself to nominate that as a game of the year because, if I'm being honest, they don't really push the envelope enough, really, between iterations. I will still play that off camera for hours and hours and hours because it's just such a visceral kind of savagely fun experience. But Hyrule Warriors marries that with a very kind of popular intellectual property from Nintendo. You can play as Zelda, Ganon, Link, and it just it's the perfect meld of the story of Nintendo and the kind of that beautiful kind of style that they have, married with what I love about Dynasty Warriors, which is the mechanics of running around and slaughtering scores and scores of little beasties.
I must admit, I've played that off camera as well, but when I played it at E3, I was really cynical when I went into it because I've reviewed, over my years as a journalist, I've reviewed so many versions of Dynasty Warriors. I got so sick of it. I did love them, but like just having so many iterations that were exactly the same, just a slightly different costume change, just a slightly different setting, I got so sick of it. So when I was like, oh no, now they're teaming up and they're ruining like Legend of Zelda. But then as soon as I played it and I was Link in his little army uniform, smashing the crap out of things on a field and pulling off these amazing combos that just look beautiful. You know, when you get the fire rod and you're just summoning fire and smashing everyone up. I must admit, it's the most fun I've had in a long time.
It's amazing fun, yeah. All of the characters are so different in their styles of combat as well. It's really cool.
And I definitely get what you mean about like kind of the satisfaction of coming home and just smashing up waves and waves and waves of bad guys. I think it's a great stress reliever.
Yeah, you just stare at the screen with your mouth wide open and you just bash buttons until everything explodes.
Yeah. Hooray!
Yay, die Ganon. Brilliant. Oh no, I'm Ganon. Die beasties.
Yeah. Okay, so that's in at number 3. So what's in it for number 2?
Number 2, I think, is going to be a game from, I think, January or early this year at least. It's Banner Saga.
Oh, okay. Curious. You are the second person to go for Banner Saga.
I'm not surprised. It's such a beautiful game. It's set in such a rich world. A lot of games these days, they sell you the idea of being in a world, but they don't really give that world enough depth or realism to kind of really make you fall in love with it. But Banner Saga, you fall in love with all of the characters in it, and they have such rich stories, detailed backgrounds, and you can really just relate to them and sympathize with their plight. It's such a rich RPG, and tactically as well. A lot of games these days are quite easy, but it's a really challenging game. Even on the easiest setting, you'll have serious problems with the final boss. It's a really kind of enjoyable story to take story to go through.
And is there anything for you, like any particularly memorable moment from the Banner Saga?
Just every time one of the main characters dies, spoilers, I'm not going to say it, but the choices that you make have drastic effects on how things unfold. And when somebody that you've fallen in love with die, I can't say who, but you think, oh no, so if I'd fed this homeless man, if I'd attacked this camp instead of like left them be, would I have saved that guy? And oh no, I feel so bad now.
Yeah.
So there's so much of that in Banner Saga. It really is one of those games, and it's rare these days for decisions you make in a game to truly change things later on, but they really do in Banner Saga, so it's really cool.
I think that's the one thing that I love about it, is that it does have so many different outcomes depending on how you're playing. Like a couple of Let's Plays I've seen, you know, no two people have the same story, and increasingly I'm getting more and more attracted to games that allow you to tell your own story. Like I'm sort of getting a bit kind of tired of games that do have a linear path, unless it's told well, which, you know, like in the case of The Last of Us or Alien Isolation, if the story's told well, then fine. But other than that, I really want something that can have a completely different outcome. I love coming into the office and talking to someone going, oh my God, did you get this? And like, no, but I got this. And just kind of comparing and getting really enthusiastic about what could or couldn't have happened.
Did you take the evil route? Did you go down this way? Oh yeah, I did, and this guy died, and all this happened, and it's crazy. You get that most, I think, in sandbox games. Like I remember Skyrim, there's so much scope for you to be good and evil, all the Fallout games. And there's a lot of games like that coming out recently, like I think Wasteland 2, and Divinity Original Sin are great examples of how you can really choose your own way to play the game and have it just basically be a sandboxy linear RPG mix.
Okay, so bearing that in mind, going on to number 1, I'm thinking of sandboxy linear mix.
Yeah.
Is it going to be World of Warcraft?
Number 1 is going to be the ultimate theme park MMO, Warlords of Draenor. I guess I'm saying that because it's every expansion for WoW makes it pretty much a new game. They change so much between iterations. It's not just a raw, oh, we've added this area for you to go and play in, we've added this dungeon for you to do, these battlegrounds, and these things to do. Every version of the game changes it in big ways and makes it easier and easier for people to come back and rekindle the passion that I think everybody, pretty much, who can call themselves a gamer has at one point at least seen somebody play World of Warcraft, or played it themselves, or had a character. So... and it's one of those games. It came out recently, just not too long ago, And it rekindled my love for the game. So yeah, Warlords of Draenor is, and I guess World of Warcraft, my number one release for 2014.
Well, you're certainly playing it every single day since it came out.
Well, what they've done with Warlords of Draenor, they've introduced the garrison system, which gives it a very kind of Facebooky game angle to it. If you don't actually want to jump into the game and do a dungeon or a battleground or really sink in deep to it, you can literally just log in, walk over to like various stations and just indulge in like some Facebook games where you set some tasks rolling and you come back later to see how they've done. Like there's a function where you get followers who are just NPCs who you recruit to fight for you and to fight for your garrison and try and earn you loot. And what you do is you go and send them off on missions, and they have various properties, skills that make them good at certain types of missions and good at conquering different types of foes. And so you put together teams to go out on missions, and they can come back with all kinds of rewards like gear, gold, resources for you to craft with. And there's all kinds of buildings like this inside your garrison, and it creates this very personal Facebook game on crack. It's just like a Facebook game gone wild.
Yeah.
And you can log in every day. And I think Lewis and a few people at the office call it wizard chores, because it is a bit of like you log in every day, you do your chores, and then if you want you can log out, or if you want you can keep playing. But it's such a fun mix. And Warlords of Draenor does a lot of cool things early on. It's not really a full game yet. I mean, they released it, and the new experience of leveling up 90 to 100 is rich with story. You meet a lot of characters that are really iconic to the franchise and the IP. And so it's really cool to see those, because the idea with Warlords of Draenor is you go back in time to see and you witness some of these older characters that you've grown up with through World of Warcraft, but they're in the past. So it's like, oh, so this is what Thrall's dad was like, or this is what that guy's mum was like, etc. Oh, and here's this guy before he turned evil. Wow, isn't this cool? And there's so much of that in Warlords of Draenor, and the experience from 90 to 100 is really rich. Unfortunately, they haven't released. They probably have released the raids and the PvP by now. But the truth about Warlords of Draenor and WoW expansions is they're an ongoing thing. So every couple of months they'll add a new raid, a new dungeon. So while at the moment it's my game of the year, the truth is nobody can really say how Warlords of Draenor is going to be as a complete package until the next expansion's released. No one could really judge Mists of Pandaria until the end of it and all of the content had been released for it.
Yeah. And how would you rate Mist of Pandaria compared to Warlords?
I thought it was awful. No, I wanted to love it, but I wasn't keen on the new race. I wasn't so keen on the new areas. And I didn't feel as engaged with the story or quests as I did in Warlords of Draenor. I didn't have that attachment to my character and his story and journey through the new content, but I do in Warlords of Draenor, and that's what makes the difference for me. Also, Mists of Pandaria was very heavy on daily quests, where you kind of log in, you accept 25 random daily quests that don't really have any story or theme behind them. You just go to different areas and do different tasks for people. And I just got a bit bored of that.
Yeah.
But the garrison feature of Warlords of Draenor is a really fresh take on bringing people in every day to do something fun. And because you can customize your garrison, you choose what buildings you put down on it. So if there's something you don't like doing, like fishing, you can ignore the fishing building. And if you love engineering and crazy tanks and stuff, you can build a gnomish gearworks and build yourself a tank every day and just go out into the wilderness and blow up people in a tank. It's crazy.
Fair enough. So given that World of Warcraft is 10 years old now, do you think that if someone... So I'm a relatively newcomer to World of Warcraft. I've been playing it for like 2 years now. So would you say that someone completely new to World of Warcraft, this is the place to start and it's a really good place to kind of draw newcomers in?
Isn't that crazy how you can have played it for 2 years and be a newcomer to WoW?
I definitely feel like a newcomer compared to you guys. Like, I still don't have the lingo down. Like, you guys are talking like almost another language every day when you come in and you talk about your dailies and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm stuck in Northrend. Could someone come get me? You know?
It's some people I know are like encyclopedias of knowledge. They could give them a name.
Like, yeah.
And he would tell you exactly where this NPC was, what they did, etc. He's just a walking dictionary for WoW.
It's terrifying how much he knows.
It's crazy. But no, to come back to your point, is it a great time to get into WoW? And not to sound like I'm trying to sell WoW. But it really is. They've added the function with this expansion to let you boost up to maximum level, or at least boost up to the level you should be going into Warlords of Draenor. And a good example of that is I boosted up a Paladin because my Paladin was really low level and I wanted to jump into Warlords of Draenor and play my Paladin. So I boosted my Paladin up and instantly, bam, I'm level 90 and I'm ready to go into the new expansion. It was a relatively short level up experience compared to previous expansions. I don't know if it's short because it didn't take so long or because it was just so fun that it didn't feel like I was sinking so much time into it. It had a lot of problems with queues, and you probably remember this. Like, it was really hard to log in to Warlords of Draenor around about release, just because there was just a massive demand to play the game. That, coupled with, I think, the instancing technology that they were using, was tricky to master. And they've implemented a lot of fixes, and there are absolutely no queues now, no problems getting into the game at all. So yeah, I think it's one of the better times, the start of an expansion for sure, to get back into WoW, or even to start fresh, because when you boost a level 90 all the way from 0, you're not given all of the character's skills at once. In fact, my Paladin was given 4 skills, like one to hit things, one to hit them harder, I think, one to heal myself, and I don't know what the last one was, but it's basically, it slowly trickles down all these abilities. Like, okay, you've got the basics, now we're going to teach you about crowd control. And then they give you 4 more abilities. Okay, now we're going to teach you about this, buffs, healing and stuff. And so you're gradually reintroduced, or in some cases, totally kind of introduced freshly to a new class you've never played. And so it's a great time to either start or get back into WoW, I think.
That sounds good, because I still haven't played Warlords yet, even though I've got my copy. I just haven't had time to sit down and dedicate to it yet. But I mean, one thing I always found troublesome with WoW is that it wasn't particularly helpful to people who were new. Like, when I first started playing it was my first MMO. I had no clue what the hell I was doing, and it took me a very long time to understand. And it actually took until Final Fantasy XIV came out, which, you know, as much as, you know, the hardcore don't like Final Fantasy XIV because it's too easy, too basic, it was perfect for me because it was very good at teaching people what an MMO was and breaking it down to its basic components, like what role you are, what that means, what a raid is, what a dungeon is, what this is, what that is. And after playing Final Fantasy XIV, I went back to WoW and suddenly I understood a whole lot more. I understood how it worked a lot more. And I think that as great as WoW is, that's something it's always lacked, is a kind of a very basic breakdown for people who have no idea what an MMO is and are doing it for the first time. So it pleases me to hear that they've done that for Warlords, or at least broken it down a little bit more, so newbies like me can be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing now.
So that's what DPS means. It's not like a delivery company. It's crazy. There are so many little words that you just don't understand. And you'll say to somebody in a different game, oh yeah, you know, I like, in TF2, I like the soldier, but his DPS is a bit low. And someone will say, well, what did you say? And it's like, oh right, it's a WoW term. It's a WoWism. And it's just carried across from different, just 2 different games from WoW. There are so many words and ideas and concepts that just playing WoW will kind of help you kind of fathom.
Like Hannah and I playing Alien Isolation, we were talking about threat and aggression and aggro from the alien onto us, and I realised afterwards that's such a WoW thing to talk about threat and aggro and how much you're pulling on you. It
just sounds like you're an Australian and someone's giving you beef. Hey, no, mate, no aggro, mate. No. It's like, no, it actually refers to a monster's attention.
On you.
Bless.
Okay, fantastic. So your top 5 games of 2014 are: at number 5, Gang Beasts; at number 4, Baldur's Gate; at number 3, Hyrule Warriors; at number 2, Banner Saga; and at number 1, World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor. That's a pretty solid list. That's quite fantasy driven, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, fantasy is definitely my favorite kind of place to play my games. It's my jam. But again, like it was tricky narrowing it down because so many of the games I play are just old. I mean, like Minecraft and I still play some really old games from like 2013, 2012. So really old games. But yeah, like, you know, Dota, that's ancient now. Things like that. League of Legends, that's ancient too. I mean, I think League of Legends is almost as old as WoW. Well, give or take a few years. But yeah, so I mean, I think we're living in an age now where graphics have kind of plateaued. And you can play a game now that will be graphically the same as new games that are coming out in 5 years that people are playing then. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, Sjin. And,
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, and we'll see what everyone else in the Yogscast has their top 5. See you
I can't
guys
wait to
next
see.
time. Bye.
Bye.